Welcome, brothers, to the Stoic Path, the place where modern masculinity meets ancient wisdom. If you've ever wondered whether a woman was silently drawn to you without saying a word, this video will open your eyes to a hidden world most men never even notice. Because what if I told you? Some of the most powerful signs of desire don't come in the form of compliments, flirty smiles, or grand gestures. They come quietly. In a glance. A shift in voice. A subtle lean closer. A touch that lingers a second too long. These are signs most men miss. But not the Stoic. Today, you'll learn to read these 6 silent psychological signals a woman may be broadcasting when she's truly interested, yes, even in taking things further. But here's the twist: this isn't about seduction tactics. This is about cultivating a presence so strong, so steady, that women naturally align with it without you ever having to chase. So stick with me until the very end, because each sign builds on the last, and only when you see the full picture will you be able to act with clarity, not confusion. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe. And let me know in the comments, which signs have you encountered before but maybe didn't recognize at the time. Your support helps this channel grow, so I can keep bringing you real, grounded content that cuts through the noise. Let's begin the decoding with the very first sign, the lingering gaze. Sign 1, the lingering gaze, eyes that test your center. You're at a bookstore. The smell of old paper and roasted coffee fills the air. As you reach for a copy of Meditations, you catch her glance. Not just a glance, a moment. A pause. A second that stretches just enough to make your breath catch. She looks away. Then, looks back. That, my friend, is not politeness. It's a signal. A subtle one. But powerful. There's something ancient, almost primal in the way two people lock eyes. It predates language. And for the Stoic man, the gaze is not just about attraction. It's about presence. A woman who desires connection often starts with this very subtle cue: prolonged eye contact that says, "I'm here. Do you see me?" From a psychological standpoint, sustained eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It deepens feelings of intimacy, even if no words are exchanged. And from a female psychology perspective, this gaze isn't always conscious, but it's rarely accidental. It's a way to test your emotional attunement, your self-possession, your ability to perceive without grasping. But most men fail this test in one of 2 ways. The clumsy leaper, he assumes interest and reacts instantly, over-smiling, leaning in, asking something awkward. Result: she withdraws. The nervous avoider, he breaks eye contact too quickly, looks down or away, signaling lack of confidence or internal stability. Neither man passes the test. The Stoic response: stillness. No fidgeting. No trying to impress. Just calm, steady eye contact enough to meet her where she is, but not chase where she's going. Let your gaze say, "I see you clearly. But I am not moved by assumption. I remain centered." Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are grounded in calm presence, so too will be your gaze. Signs to watch for. Her gaze lasts over 3 seconds before she looks away. She breaks eye contact but looks back again. Her eyes soften, and her facial muscles relax micro-expressions of warmth. She pairs the gaze with subtle facial expressions, half smiles, slight head tilts. Research from the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior shows that mutual gaze is one of the strongest predictors of initial romantic interest, especially when combined with relaxed facial muscles and pupil dilation. Common mistake: trying to outstare her. This turns subtle tension into pressure. Don't dominate. Simply remain steady. She's not challenging your masculinity, she's inviting your awareness. Key takeaways. Her lingering gaze equals test of your inner stillness. Stay composed, not eager. Red, don't rush. Respond with your energy, not your ego. Let's reflect. Have you ever been on the receiving end of a gaze that left you speechless? Did you hold it or did you fumble it? Drop your story in the comments. Let's learn from each other's moments of tension and clarity. Sign 2. The pull of proximity. She moves closer than she needs to. Imagine this: you're sitting at a cafe, working on your laptop. There are empty tables all around. Yet, she chooses the one next to you. She places her coffee down, glances once, smiles faintly. Moments later, she leans in slightly to adjust her chair, and now you're close enough to sense her perfume. Coincidence? Perhaps. But when it happens twice, or 3 times, and especially when she doesn't need to be near you, it's time to pay attention. Women often use spatial cues to communicate interest. Why? Because proximity is safe but suggestive. It allows her to express a silent invitation without risking outright rejection. It's her way of saying, "I'm here. I've opened a door. Will you recognize it?" According to Edward T. Hall's proxemics theory, humans subconsciously understand 4 spatial zones: public, social, personal, and intimate. When a woman crosses into your personal space, typically 1.5 to 4 feet, particularly when unnecessary, she's inviting a different kind of engagement, emotional or even physical intimacy. But here's the part most men fumble. The overeager lean in. He misreads the nearness as overt approval. He responds too fast, invading her space, becoming touchy, or overstepping emotionally. This collapses the tension and kills the chemistry. The frozen observer, he notices her closeness but becomes stiff, avoids eye contact, or worse, gets visibly uncomfortable. This signals internal instability or fear of intimacy. The Stoic move: recognition without reaction. Stillness. Groundedness. You don't move toward her, but you don't back away either. You acknowledge her presence with calm awareness. This restraint generates magnetic polarity because it says, "I noticed your move. I won't chase. But I'm not intimidated either." Studies on human attraction show that shared physical space, especially in emotionally charged moments, like laughter, music, or vulnerability, increases oxytocin levels and trust. The key is not just distance but timing and intention. Subtle signs to observe. She repeatedly finds excuses to stand or sit closer than needed. She chooses to stay near you even when other space is available. She adjusts her body angle toward you, shoulders open, feet pointed in your direction. She accidentally brushes by you in narrow spaces even when there's room to avoid it. Bonus clue: if her proximity increases during moments of shared emotional energy like a shared laugh, deep eye contact, or personal story, that's often not an accident. It's an escalation cue. Key takeaways: repeated proximity equals quiet invitation. Don't assume, don't retreat, just observe. Non-neediness equals silent power. Timing and subtlety matter more than action. Let's talk. Have you ever had someone linger around you closer than needed and sensed the air shift between you? Did you lean in or stay grounded? Share your moment below. Sometimes the closeness says more than words ever could. Sign 3. The subtle touch. Her hands are speaking loudly in silence. You're standing at the bar with your drink. The music is low. Conversation flows easily between you two. Then, mid-laugh, she places her hand on your forearm, not for balance, not by accident, but for connection. It lasts maybe a second longer than it needs to, and just like that, the air feels charged. Welcome to the language of touch, the oldest form of human communication, older than words, older than logic. And for the emotionally aware man, it's one of the clearest indicators of interest. But only if you're paying attention. In female psychology, subtle physical contact is rarely random. It's a form of calibrated escalation, low risk for her, but high informational value for you. She's watching not just how you feel, but how you handle her interest. Research published in Psychological Science has shown that even brief skin-to-skin contact, such as a hand brushing an arm, can activate the brain's dopaminergic pathways, releasing pleasure and social bonding chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. A woman who subtly touches you isn't just being friendly. She's testing how attuned and composed you are in that moment. But here's where many men get it wrong. The overenthusiastic mirror, he touches back immediately, or worse, escalates it physically, thinking this is my chance. The result? He breaks her rhythm, and she withdraws. The defensive flinch, he pulls away, stiffens up, or makes a nervous joke. She feels rejected or misunderstood, and the energy fizzles. The Stoic response: awareness without escalation. Presence without performance. You receive the gesture, acknowledge it with subtle warmth, perhaps a slight smile, maybe steady eye contact, but you don't respond physically. Not yet. Seneca wrote, "Accept without arrogance, let go without attachment." This is where you embody that. Her touch is a signal, not a reward. You don't cling to it, you read it. You remain grounded. Touch cues that matter. Accidental grazes of your hand, shoulder, or back more than once. Anchoring touch: she places her hand on you when making a point. Playful nudges or pushes during banter. Lingering contact: just slightly longer than needed, especially in emotional moments. In social psychology, this is known as reciprocal touch. Our brains are wired to mirror touch to build closeness. But a Stoic man delays his response. He leads the tempo. That's how you stay in control of polarity. Key takeaways: her touch is a test, not an invitation for action. Respond emotionally, not physically. Stillness creates more tension than reaction. Delayed reciprocity equals quiet dominance. Let's reflect. Think back. Was there a time when someone touched you casually, but it lingered in your mind long after? How did you handle it? Did you lean in or did you hold your ground? Comment below. These stories are often more revealing than we think. Sign 4. The shift in her voice, when her tone becomes your private frequency. You're in a group setting, maybe a dinner, maybe a casual get-together. Everyone's talking, voices overlapping. But when she speaks to you, something changes. Her voice lowers. The words slow down. The space between syllables stretches, like she's drawing a soft invisible curtain between you and the world. This isn't coincidence. This is calibration. When a woman modulates her voice specifically for you, she's creating a micro-environment of intimacy, one that's only accessible if you're present enough to notice. Her tone becomes a test of attention, a subtle probe into whether you can feel what she's feeling without her ever needing to say it outright. Studies from evolutionary psychology have shown that both men and women alter their vocal tone and pitch when speaking to someone they find attractive. For women, it often involves a lower pitch, suggesting sensuality and trust. Slower speech, inviting your focus. Softer volume, requiring you to lean in, physically or emotionally. This isn't just flirting, it's biological choreography. But as always, many men misread or mishandle it. The too fast misstep: he leans in too close, too fast. Laughs too loudly. Responds too eagerly, shattering the intimacy she was trying to build. The disconnected listener: he doesn't notice the shift at all. Responds with the same energy he uses for the group. She feels that mismatch and begins to withdraw. The Stoic response: you don't perform. You don't rush. You simply slow down with her. Your voice softens just slightly. Your breathing slows. You listen not just with your ears, but with your full presence. You match pace, not pitch. As Marcus Aurelius said, be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water. In this context, it means, let her softness enter the space but don't lose your depth. Signs she's shifting her voice for you. She begins speaking in a quieter tone only when addressing you. Her words stretch out, and she lingers between phrases. There's a gentle playfulness in her inflection, teasing, lilting, even musical. Her voice takes on a personal texture that isn't there when she talks to others. This vocal intimacy often happens without conscious intention. It's a result of limbic resonance, the brain's way of syncing emotional states through vocal and nonverbal cues. If you can recognize and match her rhythm without forcing it, connection deepens fast. Key takeaways: vocal shifts equals subtle emotional intimacy cue. Don't lean in too hard, sync, don't chase. Maintain depth, don't imitate softness. Your steadiness amplifies her vulnerability. Let's talk. Have you ever felt someone's voice change when they spoke only to you? Did it make the space feel private even in a crowd? Share your story in the comments. Sometimes the quietest moments speak the loudest. Sign 5. Playful defiance, when teasing becomes testing. You're sitting across from her at a coffee shop, mid-conversation. You mention your favorite band. She raises an eyebrow, smirks, and says, "Seriously? I didn't think you were that guy." Her tone? Mocking, but amused. her eyes lit up with challenge, not judgment. Her posture open, leaning in, not away. This isn't rejection. It's an invitation disguised as defiance. Playful teasing is one of the most misunderstood signs of attraction. Most men interpret it as sarcasm, resistance, or disinterest. But psychologically, this behavior is rooted in something far more complex: relational play. According to research from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, teasing in romantic contexts serves as a way to gauge compatibility, emotional intelligence, and confidence without risking overt vulnerability. It's like a sparring match that says, "Can you meet me here? Can you play without losing your center?" This type of flirtation is especially common in women who are emotionally mature. They want to test not just your attraction, but your ability to handle feminine unpredictability without crumbling. But here's where it goes wrong. The defensive overreactor. He takes the teasing personally, becomes reactive, and tries to prove her wrong. This shifts the energy from flirtation to confrontation. The clumsy overcompensator. He tries too hard to be funny back, over-explaining himself or attempting forced humor. The tension dissolves into awkwardness. The Stoic response. Smile calm, collected. Acknowledge the jab without defensiveness. Respond with playful confidence, but don't try to win. Just keep the energy light, grounded, and slightly mysterious. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If someone does wrong, it's not your burden to carry. Respond with reason, not retaliation." In flirtation, this means, don't defend your ego, lead with wit and presence. Example exchange. Her, "Wow, you probably rehearse your Stoic quotes in the mirror." You, with a half smile, "I prefer candlelight." More dramatic effect. It's not about being clever. It's about being centered. When you play without trying to win, you show her your value without saying a word. How to spot playful defiance. She pokes fun at your preferences, but keeps smiling. Her teasing is paired with light physical touch or proximity. Her sarcasm invites, not rejects, more banter. She challenges your opinions, but watches closely for your reaction. This dynamic triggers dopaminergic reward circuits. Playfulness creates novelty, unpredictability, and the sweet emotional tension we subconsciously crave in connection. But only if it's met with emotional composure. Key takeaways. Teasing equals testing your ability to stay grounded under light pressure. Stay calm, stay playful, don't chase or defend. Mysterious confidence wins over loud cleverness. Your response says more than your resume ever could. Your turn. Have you ever mistaken flirtatious teasing for disrespect? Or maybe you nailed the perfect witty comeback. Share the moment in the comments. Sometimes, the spark is hidden in the sarcasm. Sign 6. The mirror effect. When she starts reflecting you, you're sharing a story, nothing profound, just a moment from your day. As you speak, she tilts her head slightly, the same way you just did. You cross one leg, and seconds later, so does she. The rhythm of her speech starts to match yours, her energy syncing quietly with yours. You didn't ask for this. You didn't force it. But somehow, she's becoming your reflection. This is mirroring, and it's one of the deepest, most unconscious signs of connection, especially romantic connection. It says, "I feel aligned with you, even if I don't know why yet." According to neuroscience, mirror neurons, specialized cells in our brain, activate when we observe someone else's behavior. It's how babies learn. It's how we develop empathy. And in adult interaction, mirroring becomes a nonverbal expression of emotional resonance. When a woman starts subtly imitating your posture, gestures, speech patterns, emotional tone, it's often not intentional. It's her subconscious tuning into your frequency. But again, here's where men fall into traps. The self-centered interpreter. He thinks, "She's copying me, I've got her," and either boasts about it or acts arrogantly. This breaks the natural flow and turns connection into performance. The oblivious man. He doesn't notice the mirroring at all. He's too focused on his next joke or on trying to impress. She mirrors, then stops, then emotionally drifts. The Stoic response. He notices but doesn't react. He simply holds his authentic rhythm. He leads the emotional space by remaining steady, grounded, and himself. He doesn't shift to test her back or play games. He honors the mirroring as a natural flow, not a prize to be claimed. Seneca once said, "Be tolerant with others, strict with yourself." In this context, it means, allow her to mirror you freely, but remain rooted in your values, energy, and calm. If she reflects strength, let it be because you radiate it, not because you're adjusting to gain approval. Signs she's mirroring you. She subtly mimics your body language seconds after you move. She uses similar vocabulary or phrases you just used. Her tone, rhythm, or emotional energy matches yours during conversation. She mirrors your mood when you're calm. She relaxes. When you're animated, she lights up. In psychology, this phenomenon creates a feeling of we-ness, shared identity. It makes people feel like they are on the same wavelength. But this only deepens if you remain consistent in who you are. Key takeaways. Mirroring equals subconscious alignment, not manipulation. Don't call it out, don't test it, just notice it. Your authenticity is the conductor, she's responding to your presence. Stay grounded, allow emotional chemistry to unfold naturally. Let's reflect. Have you ever noticed someone start to subtly reflect your energy, movements, or language? Did it deepen your connection or did you overlook it at the time? Share below. Sometimes the reflection reveals more than the words ever could. So now you know. 6 signs. 6 subtle shifts that, when seen through the lens of Stoic awareness, reveal more than most conversations ever will. But I want to leave you with this. This isn't about hunting signs. It's about mastering yourself so deeply that you can read reality as it is, without impulse, without ego, without need. The Stoic man doesn't chase validation. He observes. He aligns. He leads without force. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." And that's your mission, not just in dating, but in everything you touch. So next time you feel the shift, when her gaze holds a little too long, when her presence lingers, when her voice softens only for you, when she mirrors your energy like a shadow that wants to merge, Don't react. Don't chase. Just smile inwardly. Because now, you understand the game beneath the surface. And more importantly, you no longer need to play it to win. If this guide stirred something in you, tap that like button. Subscribe to the Stoic Path for more grounded wisdom. And drop your thoughts in the comments, which of these signs hit home for you the most. Until next time, stay centered, stay calm, stay stoic.